Good day to you guys, gals, and enby pals. My name is Andrude. Super Mario 3D All-Stars reminds me I'm gonna die one day. Now, that's not to say the game itself is bad. I mean, how could it be? It's a collection of two of Nintendo's most beloved 3D platformers and Mario Sunshine, but its problems were first made apparent right from the game's reveal. On September 3rd, 2020, at 10 AM Eastern Time, we were treated to a surprise Nintendo Direct in preparation for the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Bros. Japanese release. The announcements consisted of toy, port, game, toy, merch, and ended with the unveiling of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, a collection of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, and that's it. Besides the fact that the game looked like little more than a collection of officially repackaged ROMs, with unimpressive upgrades at best given what modders have been able to achieve with these games for years, 3D All-Stars was slapped with a September 18th release date and a March 31st de-release date. Yeah, 3D All-Stars was announced to only be made available for roughly 7 months, then Nintendo would stop sales of it both physically and digitally. This led to an upset community, to say the least, and honestly I could launch to an entirely separate tangent about why this release strategy is inherently anti-consumer and an overall not great idea, but that's probably best saved for a different video. No, instead today I thought I'd take a look at each of the games in the package individually and decide whether or not it's worth the $60 MSRP. So, to quote the man himself, Mario 64 was the first ever 3D Mario game. You can't possibly not know that. It's on the game's business card, and given it was Nintendo's first real foray into 3D platformers, it makes a lot of the game's less appetizing aspects more excusable. Yes, the graphics are low poly, the Womp looks like he got his face caved in. Bowser appears to have recently had an unfortunate run-in with some bees, and there's plenty more ill I could speak of the game outside of its presentation. The camera controls are stiff, Mario's handling can be janky, the power-ups are only really useful when the game decides they can be useful. The story?
Bowser kidnaps Peach.
But as I said before, many of these negatives become more understandable when you consider the revolutionary scale to which this game employs its mechanics. Although yes, 3D platformers had been done on console before Mario 64, few if any were open world, and certainly none were as ambitious as Nintendo's offering. And that's not to say I only think negatively of the game, there's plenty about Mario 64 I really enjoy. The progression system is solid. As you work your way through Peach's castle, more areas are opened up the more power stars you collect, which encourages replayability as players could challenge themselves to find different routes to make their way to the game's end. If there's a mission you absolutely loathe, you're given the option to just skip it provided you can make up the power star elsewhere. I fucking hate snow. So instead I'm really going to focus in on Bob-Omb Battlefield and Hazy Maze Cave because I'm way into Regicide and existence is suffering, but between my thorough trips through those areas, in combination with some Light Star Collection and others, I should have more than enough power stars to enter the next Bowser area and unlock the next floor of the castle. The game tasks players with collecting 70 power stars, but how those 70 power stars are obtained is completely up to the player. This provides a sense of freedom informing one's playstyle, which I feel has only been surpassed by the recent Mario Odyssey. Besides the satisfying gameplay loop, the soundtrack is an absolute delight. These songs remain beloved by many for a reason. They're catchy, they're memorable, and they fit the atmospheres of their respective levels quite well. So overall consensus, Mario 64? Pretty alright. You can definitely feel the game's age and current year, but it's an interesting enough relic of Mario history to warrant at least a bit of your attention. Now, as a third of the game's content? God no, this game is not worth $20. It's fine, but between how readily available it is on other platforms and the minimal upgrades Nintendo included, nah. I don't like this game very much. Okay, but seriously. Super Mario Sunshine proves there's a little masochist inside all of us, as it's a game that actively punishes you with frustrating busy work the more you try to love it. If you're just casually playing through the game, you'll still encounter plenty of icky paint-like bullshit, but markedly less than those who choose to go the distance and obtain all of the game's 120 shine sprites. Akin to its predecessor, Mario Sunshine operates on a mission-based structure. Each world has 8 missions, and to reach the end of the game, you must clear up to mission 7 in each stage. Note how I said must, however. Although Mario Sunshine generally determines world accessibility through total shine sprites collected, some worlds are unlocked by completing certain missions in other worlds, and the number of shine sprites you collect is somewhat superfluous, as to reach the game's final world, you must have completed missions 1 through 7 in each of the subsequent worlds. Shine collection is nowhere near as open-ended as Mario 64, as selecting a mission from a world's menu more or less railroads you into completing that specific mission, with few exceptions, the mission you select is the one you're completing. Regardless of this more linear design, Mario Sunshine still has plenty of opportunities to grab extra shines. On top of the returning 100 coin shine sprites, Delfino Plaza, the game's hub world, has plenty of shine sprites to be collected itself, and that's before mentioning the blue coins because holy shit, the blue coins. Each level has a total of 30 blue coins scattered across its vicinity, and there's a shop in Delfino Plaza where Mario can, in essence, buy shine sprites with said blue coins at an exchange rate of 10 coins per shine. Some blue coins are kinda just hanging out in the open, while others require you to part with your soul for even a shot at nabbing them. In total, across the game's 7 worlds, there are 210 blue coins. Corona Mountain has 10, with Delfino Plaza playing host to the remaining 20. Added together, there are 240 blue coins in this game, which equates to 24 shine sprites locked behind this godforsaken mechanic. The concept of the blue coins in a bubble isn't the problem. With a Mario 64 style progression system, they'd nicely supplement the shines one could already collect through red and gold coins to further give the player options as to how they wish to reach the game's 70-star quota. The problem is this is not a Mario 64 style progression system! In such a linear game as this, the existence of extra shines is at best totally useless and at worst a major inconvenience for anyone looking to get 100%. Rather than serve as an alternative to vary how one goes about their adventure through Delfino Island, these extra shines are collectibles purely for collectibles' sake. They serve no practical purpose and exist purely to add tedium to achieving everything in the game. But maybe you're not about that completionist life, and achieving the mandatory 51 shine sprites is value enough for you. Okay. You'll still be faced with mission objectives ranging from mundane to mildly entertaining to downright scream-inducing, held together by an overall glitchy experience. Yeah, apparently Mario Sunshine had a rushed development period, which is absolutely felt just how buggy it is for a Mario game. Other titles in the series had glitches, sure, but none were as blatantly unpolished as this. This actually works to the game's benefit in some instances, if you'd believe it, as some objectives which would otherwise prove frustrating can be completely skipped due to an apparent lack of quality assurance. They didn't even have enough time to give players a good reward for getting 100%. You get a JPEG! The controls are one of my biggest gripes with this game. The moment-to-moment gameplay feels fine enough, thanks in no small part to Mario's new water jetpack, the Flood, but in the game's secret stages, which are far more platform-heavy experiences than the other more exploration-based objectives, you are stripped of your Flood and must navigate the challenge with only Mario. Although the controls are a noted improvement from its predecessor, the game's handling is really put to the test in these sections, and it's a test that it more often than not miserably fails. The platforming is so tight and so precise that mixed with Mario's somewhat slippery handling, it's an oftentimes lethal combination. So much like the blue coins, Mario's handling is fine in a bubble, but in the context of what the game asks you to do with it, it's simply a mess. This lends credence to the idea that the game's creation was hurried, as many of these mechanics seem like a good idea in theory, but it's clear little if any thought was put into how they'd work alongside the game's other aspects. Now, I could go mission by mission, dissecting and explaining what I believe to be wrong with each aspect of this game, but I think it would be much more productive and quick to just say what I really like about Mario Sunshine. The music's alright. Ear-pleasing stuff, you know, it's real bop. It's very, very atmospheric. Visuals, very nice. Graphics, I mean, it's a gorgeous looking game. The landscapes are lush and beautiful. Oh, the story's pretty good.
Bowser kidnaps Peach.
And also, his kid gets Mario falsely accused and convicted of a crime and sentenced to community service, and I wanted to expound on this more in the video, but I couldn't find a way to make it original or funny because, for God's sakes, everyone who's talked about Mario Sunshine has made fun of how the story is super contrived, so I just kinda... Hey everybody, I'm gonna let you know a little super spicy secret gaming hot take. Ready? I think Super Mario Galaxy is a really good game.
Super Mario Galaxy marks an important turning point in the process by which Nintendo developed 3D Mario games. They started making them good. To say this game is aged the best out of the three on offer would be both an understatement and incredibly obvious given it's the most recent of the package. Even then, it's hard to convey just how well this game from 2007 holds up nearly 15 years later, but I'll be damned if I'm not going to try. Borrowing aspects from both of its predecessors, Mario Galaxy offers players 42 worlds, named galaxies in-game, to explore across 6 mini-hub worlds, with each galaxy holding a set number of objectives for the player to complete. Although, like Sunshine, you're given little if any room as far as mission completion sequence freedom, the method of unlocking worlds is thankfully more reminiscent of Mario 64. Each mini-hub, referred to as domes in the game, contains a set number of galaxies, with one being reserved for some form of confrontation with Bowser. To unlock a new dome, you must complete the previous dome's Bowser Galaxy and collect its Grand Star, which is done by first collecting the required number of Power Stars to even unlock the Bowser Galaxy, which are of course obtained through completing missions elsewhere. Collected stars can be used across the entire game and are used to unlock later levels. Meaning, like in Mario 64, your journey through the game's galaxies can be heavily curtailed to your liking, which is poggers because seriously, fuck snow. Although the process of collecting stars has been simplified from 64, with mission progression being fairly straightforward, not leaving much room for exploration, save for the occasional bout of one-ups or very infrequent hidden mission, this makes missions all the more doable as players are rarely, if ever, left directionless. In Mario 64, the only indicator as to where your mission objective lied was in its title, itself a hint as to what the player needed to accomplish. In Mario Galaxy, you're not only given a hint via the title, you're also treated to a short cinematic before entering the level, on top of the levels themselves being fairly linear, typically pointing the player towards their objective. Even from an aesthetic standpoint, the levels you traverse in Mario Galaxy just completely trump the previous two titles. Barring the aforementioned obvious graphical improvement brought about by more powerful hardware, Mario Sunshine's levels all kept to a resort island-esque theme. Although this uniformity was implemented to highlight the game's tropical aesthetic, it didn't leave much room for varied level locations as all areas had to be situated on Isle Delfino. Mario 64, although an improvement in level variety, also felt somewhat subdued in terms of locales for Mario to explore. Lethal Lava Land may be more visually distinct from the other levels in the game, but it is sort of just the fire level, the water level, the bad one. Hell incarnate. Mario Galaxy is in space, and the developers took full advantage of Mario's interstellar setting by making each galaxy incredibly visually distinct, taking great care to fill each one with fun and engaging level objectives, mostly. Although Galaxy is not nearly as brutal as Sunshine as far as platforming is concerned, the game does a good job keeping players interested by offering mostly comfortable mission objectives, aided in no small part by the improved sense of control, a stark contrast to Sunshine, which constantly demanded the player perform open heart surgery with mittens. And topping off the entire experience is a literal orchestral soundtrack, which on top of sounding excellent, adds an incredible sense of perspective to your cosmic adventure. And who could forget that deep and enriching plot?
Bowser kidnaps Peach.
Mario Galaxy is an overall masterpiece, and really should get a sequel already, with just the amount of expansion that could be done on its gameplay concept and overall setting. If only. And that's Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Oh, I'm so sorry. How could I forget? Included in the package, Nintendo provided the soundtracks for all three games on offer for our listening convenience. A revolutionary feature, definitely not possible through any other, certainly more convenient means. So what have I gleaned throughout my experience with Mario 3D All-Stars? Well, Mario 64 is a fundamentally solid game, which was unfortunately held back by the lacking technology and experience on offer at the time. Mario Galaxy is a 13-year-old game that doesn't look a day over 4, and Sunshine is... But the million-dollar question, is Super Mario 3D All-Stars worth $60? Well, as much of a cop-out as it may sound like, it does ultimately boil down to perspective. Do you feel $60 is worth what I've shown you today? That's a more or less rhetorical question at this point, by the way. Because remember, this game's lifespan is shorter than that of most fish. But that leads me to my final point. How does this game remind me of my impending mortality? Well, think about it. This game won't be available for sale come this April. It'll no longer be available for new audiences to enjoy. It won't be around anymore. And if a video game won't be around forever, then what does it say about me? I'm way less plentiful and beloved than a Nintendo Switch cartridge. No one's gonna back me up on some shitty ROM website for download later on. Ah, fuck, I'm gonna die someday!